그래서 today's lecture will be combined by my lectures. My lecture topic will be the introduction to the sports industry. Okay, so today's lecture will be combined by my lecture plus the group B, right? Group B's the PowerPoint chapter presentation. Okay. So the first I'm gonna give you guys my lectures. So and we're gonna have the short break, 10-minute break, and then the group B will be presenting the chapter 1 and chapter 2. Okay? So how about next week? Next week, so one of the students told me before the class, well, he cannot make a presentation because the graduate students cannot participate next week class, right? So actually, the previous next week presentation, chapter 3 and chapter 4, correct? Will be charge of group A. You are group A, correct? So I think we have to change it a little bit something. So only one student is group A. So I think group C or group D, I didn't decide yet. But after class, I will let you know in detail, okay? Regarding the next week chapter presentation, okay? As you guys see, so I prepared for PPT. Today's topic will be the introduction of the sports industry, okay? So before the lectures, I'd like to give the question, why are you here? Why do you be interested in studying sports industry? Just raise your hand and just answer my question, okay? Why are you interested in studying sports industry? Well, as you guys know, actually previously in the United States, that's the American class, right? So American English class. I just wanna get more focus on the country, United States, okay? So do not get me wrong. I just wanna get more focus on United States in terms of sports marketing when I explain something, okay? There is the kind of previous history, there is no sports management course in the United States. But now, not many schools do not have the sports management course, right? But this university, Hanyang University, has the perfect program for sports management and sports administration. But you know why? Because sports is kind of one issue. Everybody combined through the sports, right? So for example, so think about the World Cup games. Everybody loves the soccer, right? Through the World Cup games, every 4 years, that event's hosted, right? Through the World Cup events, everybody is combined to one, okay? So that's the importance of sports. So sports industry, that's the kind of definition is over there, but you guys have to memorize it. You just have to put those kind of terms in your brain, okay? Sports industry is your market in which people, activities, business and organizations involved in producing, facilitating, promoting, or organizing any activity, experience, or business enterprise focused on sports. Okay? You guys understand? The types of sports, right? Types of sports. The first, we can think about traditional sports, right? The traditional sports means such as baseball, basketball, tennis, golf, American football, swimming, and soccer. But several variety of aerobics, inline skating, snowboarding, snow kayaking, the parasailing, ice surfing, mountain boarding, and beach volleyball, skydive dancing, snow biking, ice climbing, then X games, and indoor soccer. Those kind of games will be the categorized of action sports. You guys used to hear the action sports. I mean the extreme sports. The extreme sports means a general term for collection of real sports involving adrenaline-inducing action. But usually, the Korean company, big company, LG Electronics. LG Electronics is sponsoring for those kind of events. But extreme sports usually called action sports. Those kind of activity usually in the European country, not in the United States. But LG Electronics, but LG is major sponsor for those kind of events. But those kind of events is kind of different story. The first I mentioned traditional sports, right? Baseball, basketball, kind of professional the sports something. But action sports is really the people's participation, right? So action sports is kind of different story. So types of sports, you guys have to separate those kind of things into two groups. One traditional things and other things will be action sports, okay? The settings for sporting activity. So another approach to the sports industry involves examining the many different settings in which sporting activities occurs. So you guys can think about single sports. Single sports means professional leagues and teams, organization, and multi-sports mean athletic foundations, disabled sports organizations, high school sports, the military sports, and Olympic sports, and sports hall of fame, and sports rivalry, and museum, and youth sports organization, okay? So events and meetings and trade shows will be another settings for sporting activities. The college sports usually means college association and college athletic conferences and college athletics department and sports management degree programs will be other settings for sporting activity, okay? So media is one more crucial things in terms of thinking about the sports management and sports industry, whatever. So media is the very, very crucial tool for connecting people and sports organization, right? So media, for example, newspapers, sports magazines, and directories, sports media production, and local and national radio programs, the sports televisions, and cable and broadcast networks, and pay-per-view television, okay? But you guys know the ESPN, right? So ESPN is a big sports cable network in the US. But think about that. I think you have, for example, baseball game, right? So baseball game, you guys, if you guys do not have cable contract in your home, you cannot watch the baseball game. You guys have to make a contract. I mean cable contract. But you guys have to purchase something, okay? So ESPN is one representative sports cable television network, okay? So many United States people have the contract, cable contract. So I think most of them do have the right to watch the kind of sporting events, big events. I mean the baseball games, basketball game, football game, whatever, okay? So you guys use the recent pay-per-view, the television. The pay-per-view means you guys have to purchase in order to watch only single event game, kind of the heavyweight fighting, right? The UFC. You guys know the Fight FC, right? But you guys, in order to watch the single event game, you guys have to purchase. Even though you guys have cable contract, you have to pay additional costs in order to watch those kind of the big event, okay? So that means pay-per-view television. The professional services. I'm just focusing on kind of the front. You know the front, right? Front. Any kind of professional organization has the front, kind of organizational chart. So professional service means executive search services and event planning and services and financial services and marketing and consulting services and technical services and sports agents and sports medicine and kind of ticketing service will be included into the professional services. The other things will be the sports sponsors and facilities. Facility usually means the stadium, auto racetrack, and greyhound racetrack. The greyhound racetrack means dog track, right? So in the United States, kind of dog track is the legally permitted. That's why the United States, every state has a kind of racing course for horse racing and dog racing. So greyhound racetrack, and facility architects and developers and facility management and facility concession services will be included into facilities. So you guys know the concession services. Do you know the kind of concept concession services? Raise your hand and answer my question. You guys listen to his comment, right? So concession service means usually the food service. Any kind of food service and beverage service inside the stadium. That means total, we usually call those kind of service concession service. The quality of concession service is very, very important for the increasing fans' attendance. At the game day, the concession service is, but if the stadium is famous for the concession services, I'm pretty sure, 100% sure, everybody gonna go to stadium, not only watching the game, but also enjoying themselves, okay? So concession service is a really, really important one factor for increasing fan attendance, okay? So I'm talking about the major professional sports in the United States because we're here to study sports industry, right? So today's lecture, I just want to emphasize the United States big sports organization. So I'm going to explain them in detail, okay? So major professional sports in the United States. You guys know the 4 representative major professional sports, right, in the United States. The first one will be NFL, right? National Football League. And second will be the Major League Baseball, MLB. And third one will be the NBA, National Basketball Association. And last one will be the what? NHL, right? So National Hockey League. So NFL, so regular season games, Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football, the Super Bowl. I just described those kind of things. I'm going to explain in detail later, okay? So NCAA football. You know the NCAA, right? The NCAA is the kind of big organization, big sports organization, which control every kind of college games. The college game means usually basketball and football, or baseball, whatever. But usually the basketball and football is the famous one in the United States. Most of people interested in watching the college basketball game and college football game. Those kind of things is very important thing for the sports marketer and in any kind of sports industry in the U.S. Not only professional sports, but also the NCAA, the NCAA football game and NCAA basketball games are also important thing, okay? So MLB, I just want to mention All-Star Game and Opening Series, and NBA, and sports marketing and globalization, and Summer Olympic Games. I'm going to explain in detail later, okay? So NCAA basketball means March Madness, okay? March Madness, you guys have to memorize March Madness. And NHL and Canada and Winter Olympic Games. First one is NFL. So American football, usually the NFL means National Football League, right? So American football means the equalized American culture. That means the number one popular sports in the US is the National Football League. So I mean the playing American football, watching something, okay? So usually the NFL game is the winter game, right? The summer season, we cannot watch it. We don't have the right to watch the football game during the summer season. The football game usually hosted the winter season, okay? I mean from October to February, so I think almost got 6 months, right? So especially winter game. The second one, you guys watch the movie Jerry Maguire? Jerry Maguire. So raise your hand. There's any kind of person who watched the nice movie Jerry Maguire. Would you explain this kind of story in briefly? Jerry Maguire, if you don't mind, you guys remember something? Okay, he explained very well in detail. So Jerry Maguire is regarding those kind of famous movie, almost 15 years ago, right? Because Jerry Maguire, because those kind of movie, the sports agent, you guys know the concept of sports agent, right? Sports agent is the person who connects the player and the sponsoring company, whatever, right? So player and organization, anytime the player do have the concern, regardless of the game, the sports agent have the right to control those kind of difficult things, right? So Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise, you know Tom Cruise, right? The actor, the praise as Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire is the name of inside the movie, right? So Jerry Maguire plays as a sports agent. Sports agent regarding the American football game. So because of Jerry Maguire game, the sports agent, the concept of sports agent has been created because of those kind of movie. Everybody, those kind of movie has a big hit in the Hollywood. That's why everybody, normal people, get interested in sports agents. What is a sports agent? What is sports marketing? Before this kind of movie, nobody knows. Nobody interested in sports agent and sports marketing. But this kind of movie play a huge role, increasing the concept of sports agent in the normal people. Okay. The third one is #1 popular sports in the United States is American football. I already mentioned to you guys. The MNF, you guys listen to the MNF, Monday Night Football. MNF, usually ESPN, one big sports cable company. The network is covering every kind of things regarding the Monday Night Football game. That means the football usually played the Sunday afternoon. Every kind of regular season game was hosted Sunday afternoon. So I mean Sunday 1 p.m., 1 Eastern time, 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. But only one game, the one representative game is the played Monday night, usually 8:05 Eastern time, 8:05. The only one game. Before the season, the NFL organization is already deciding the Monday night which team gonna play the Monday night. So every time the people expecting to watch the Monday night football game. Usually that's kind of American culture. But you guys have to thinking about why the NFL decide the only one game is Monday night football. Monday night. I mean, I already explained to you guys, most of the games usually hosted Sunday afternoon, but only one game is Monday night. That's the sports marketing perspective. Every kind of situation and sports marketer, and in terms of sports industry, we have to think about the role of Monday night football. Okay? The role of Monday night football is huge, kind of similar to Super Bowl effect. So every kind of city, which has the NFL team, which has the American football team, any kind of city hope, they wish they have only one Monday night football game during the regular season. The regular season, each team plays 16 regular season games, right? So Monday night football impact will be the huge in the American, the sports, the marketing area. But Sunday night football, especially the Monday night football, usually ABC. You know the broadcasting company ABC. ABC is ABC covers everything regarding the Monday Night Football. But you know, the ESPN, the sports cable network, those kind of company cooperate the ABC. That's why at this moment, the ESPN covers Monday Night Football. Okay? The Sunday Night Football, I already mentioned that most of plays usually played the Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. But Sunday Night Football is the kind of similar to Monday Night Football. Sunday Night Football, every Sunday Night Football, usually there is only one single game, especially the Eastern time at 8:30. 8:30, the game starts. This kind of game, the NBC is one of the broadcasting company, right? The NBC has the contract to cover the Sunday Night Football at this moment, okay? So Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, you guys have to memorize those kind of terms, okay? But the other regular season game, usually the played Sunday afternoon, and CBS and Fox local broadcasting covers the other regular season games, okay? But at this moment, the Super Bowl, you guys know the Super Bowl, right? So when you guys read article the last 2 weeks, you guys have the chance to see Super Bowl advertising impact, right? So Super Bowl means the final game, the final single game in the NFL. The Super Bowl, right now, at this moment, Fox covers Super Bowl. So Super Bowl impact. You guys used to listen to Super Bowl impact, especially the sports marketing, sports industry research. There is kind of one huge topics, the economic impact studies. We usually call those kind of study the economic impact studies. That means every city wanna host the Super Bowl game, like Olympic game, right? The Super Bowl game means too, the NFL decide which city gonna host the Super Bowl game next year. That's already decided. That's not the home and the away game. That's only one single game, neutral game, right? So NFL usually decide which city hosts Super Bowl for next year, I mean the 2015 and 2016. That's hosting city already decided by NFL commissioner. But each city, every kind of city wanna host the Super Bowl game because the hosting city has the chance to increase the economic impact, okay? So Super Bowl economic impact, so many researchers in terms of sports marketing and sports industry, Super Bowl impact, I mean the economic impact studies will be huge topic for any kind of sports researchers, okay? So Super Bowl TV advertising, we already covered those kind of things in the last 2 weeks, okay? And you guys get used to revenue sharing? Revenue means profits, right? The revenue sharing. But that's the perspective only NFL has, especially in the United States. Not many professional organization has the revenue sharing system. The revenue sharing system is one representative things the NFL is conducting. Well, you guys know the revenue sharing? But just your personal opinion, so raise your hand and answer my question. You should not give me the correct answer. Just yet, give me your personal thinking. But other thinking, revenue sharing, you guys have to put this very crucial terminology on your brain. Those kind of things, maybe that will be in your midterm question. Revenue sharing, I mean describe the relationship between the revenue sharing system and NFL. This question will be in your midterm exam, okay? So revenue sharing is the crucial terminology inside the NFL organization, okay? So you guys know the English word, right? American English word, revenue. Revenue means profits. Sharing what? Share means share, right? So please give me any ideas regarding revenue sharing. Okay. Your answer will be the 100% correct. So your answer will be the midterm exam. Everybody have to write like he mentioned, okay? Okay, so revenue sharing means he already mentioned, right? I think there are 30 NFL, American football teams. They have to share any kind of profit through the commissioner and ticket price and concession service. Every kind of the football organization is sharing their profits after regular season game. That's not including the playoff game, right? After regular season game, there is kind of playoff game, right? Post-season in the NFL organization. But I just talking about regular season game. Each team plays 16 regular season game, right? So after completing the regular season game, the NFL commissioner is sharing every kind of profit, right? So that's the revenue sharing. But I just want to emphasize, the NFL is the #1 sport in the United States, right? But United States is socially speaking, that's the one representative country of the capitalism, right? Capitalism. The capitalism is not like that. But the #1 sport in the American sports in the United States, that NFL is the American culture. Even though that's kind of situation, that's kind of what is the capitalism, against the capitalism? I do not remember. Communism, yeah, communism. Kind of the revenue sharing system is based on kind of social communism, not the capitalism. Because every kind of the professional, the football organization shares their kind of profit through the commission, through the broadcasting right, through the concession service, through the admission ticket, the selling the admission ticket, any kind of profit, every kind of the 30 football organization is sharing their profit. That's the revenue sharing. You guys have to remember the baseball game, the basketball game, also the conducting revenue sharing. But football is the revenue share, the representative revenue sharing the organization. Okay, so NFL is the #1 revenue sharing the sports organization. Okay, which conducts revenue sharing. But you guys know the Premier League, right? Premier League and Bundesliga, Serie A, and what else? The Spain is Primera Liga, right? Primera Liga for representative European soccer leagues. Also conducting revenue sharing. Very similar to American football, right? So you guys, there is a kind of big difference between professional American sports organization and the European soccer, the system, European soccer organization system. That's the revenue sharing. I just emphasizing the importance of revenue sharing in the NFL, but most of European soccer organization is also conducting revenue sharing, okay? But that's not the performance of the league. You mean the standing, you mean the winning records and losing records, whatever, right? That's not the important thing. Even though there is the 16 single game, right? Single season, the regular season game. But some teams has just only 1 wins, right? Most of them 15 lost, 1 wins and 15 lose. That's not the matter. That's not the matter, which deciding revenue sharing. London has 5 teams, you know that, right? So the English Premier League, London has Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever, right? So Chelsea, the Fulham, any kind of 5 teams, 5 local teams in the London area. But that's the English Premier League is conducting revenue sharing. But think about the Major League Baseball. Only 1 city has the right to purchase the professional organization. But only 2 cities, right? New York City. New York City has 2 Major League Baseball team, Yankees and Mets. And how about Chicago? Chicago has also two teams, Cubs and White Sox. But the other city cannot produce two teams, right? But that's why the MLB usually do not conduct revenue sharing. But soccer league, the European soccer league, especially the representative, the organization which conducts revenue sharing. That's kind of very similar to the system of the NFL. Okay? That's not the matter. I mean, I'm just talking about regular season gaming. So I'm not talking about the postseason, right? The playoff. The playoff, how about playoff? Playoff has only 12 teams. 12 teams got a chance to go into next level, the playoff, after completing the regular season. So I'm just talking about regular game. I'm just emphasizing each team plays 16 games equally, right? So after completing the regular season game, so revenue sharing will be conducted by the NFL commissioner. I mean by the NFL organization, okay? Now we're talking about NBA. The NBA, you know, the NBA is a National Basketball Association, right? So NBA, in my personal opinion, in the perspective of sports marketing, the NBA is the most important thing compared to NFL and Major League Baseball. I mean NFL means American football, right? Only United States plays the American football, right? So how about Major League Baseball? Baseball. Not many countries playing the baseball. I think the European people, right, from Germany and from France, you guys do not know the rules of the baseball, whatever. You guys do not interested in watching the baseball game, right? That's why the most important thing. How about NBA? NBA and soccer. Most of country playing the basketball and the soccer, whatever. But for example, France, right? You from France, right? You know Tony Parker, right? Tony Parker, he's from France, right? But he's playing for San Antonio Spurs in the NBA, right? That's why the NBA has the bigger impact compared to the football game and baseball game. Everybody, I mean the worldwide, so everybody knows the rule of the NBA, rules of basketball. I mean, most of people interested in watching the basketball game, right? How about German? Nowitzki, right? Don Nowitzki is from Germany, right? He almost plays over almost 20 years, right, for the Dallas Mavericks. That's why every European people, I think, I just guess, your country, the German and French, you guys have to be interested in watching Dallas and San Antonio, the NBA games. That's my just guess, right? So that's why NBA is the most important power in terms of sports marketing and sports industry worldwide, okay? So the first sentence, Lakers and Celtics rivalry. The NBA, usually in 1980s, there is huge two rival teams, which means Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and Boston Celtics rivalry. But after that, in the 1990s, everybody knows Michael Jordan, right? So Michael Jordan, you guys have to think about the role of Michael Jordan in the perspective of sports marketing and sports industry. I already mentioned the movie, Jerry Maguire, right? The NFL. When I mentioned the NFL, I mentioned Jerry Maguire kind of movie. That's the first one. I mean, that's the second one. The Michael Jordan is the #1 factor for everybody to know the sports marketing and sports industry worldwide. Because of the Michael Jordan, you see the Nike company. There is always relationship between Michael Jordan and Nike, right? So Nike gave the huge contract with the Michael Jordan at that time, at the 1990s 90s, the Michael Jordan was playing for Chicago Bulls, right? So there is two kinds of Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls impact will be their huge impact for enhancing sports marketing concept the worldwide, okay? So you guys have to remember. So you know the Kobe Bryant, right? Why do I mention Kobe Bryant? Kobe Bryant has got the impact, has got a contract with the Adidas. Adidas is from your country, right? Adidas is from Germany. And Nike is the one represented sporting goods company in the United States, right? So Kobe Bryant has the contract with the Adidas after Michael Jordan's age. After Michael Jordan, nobody has played like, nobody could play well like Michael Jordan. After Michael Jordan, I mean the post-Jordan, Kobe Bryant is the #1 player in the National Basketball Association, okay? So Kobe Bryant has the contract with Adidas and Michael Jordan has the contract with the Nike. There is always two big competition in the sports marketing inside the NBA. I mean the Nike and Adidas competition, okay? So at this moment, but you know, so I studied in Miami, right? I studied in Miami, Florida for 10 years. At this moment, which team is the #1 team in the National Basketball Association? Yes, that's what I listened to.
Because of the big three.
Yes. Yeah. So you guys know Miami Heat, right? Miami Heat is the #1 team in the NBA. They got championship, I think, 3 times in a row. Twice in a row or 3 times in a row? 3 times in a row, right? Yeah, three. Yes. So Miami Heat has 3 superstar contract at this moment. 3 superstars means, you guys listen to LeBron James, right? LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Well, I think 3 years ago, 3 superstar players has got free agent, FA. You guys know the FA, right? So they got the contract with the same team, Miami Heat. But that time, the president of Miami Heat is Pat Riley. You guys used to listen to Pat Riley. Pat Riley is the head coach in the Los Angeles Lakers and New York Knicks. He is a famous the head coach, right? But after the Lakers and after New York Knicks period age, he was a head coach for Miami Heat. But right now, he's the president. I mean the front organizational chart. He's the president of the Miami Heat at this moment. He conducting huge contract, 3 superstar contract 3 years ago. He made a great successful history inside the NBA, FA, and NBA, National Basketball Association pre-agent contract. That's the kind of the history he made that. So LeBron James' impact is very similar to Michael Jordan impact in 1980s. The LeBron James means he's currently playing for Miami Heat, right? But those kind of impact, we can compare LeBron James' impact to the Michael Jordan's impact in the 1980s, okay? So current NBA commissioner, you guys have to know the name, David Stern. David Stern is the current NBA, National Basketball Association commissioner. The David Stern's effort for the globalization of the NBA. When you guys think about the sports marketing and sports industry, you guys have to be focused on the sports industry globalization, right? So every time David Stern, NBA commissioner, is thinking about the globalization of the NBA, because many European players, like Parker and Nowitzki, and Chinese, right? You're thinking about Yao Ming, right? You guys know Yao Ming. Yao Ming and who else? You guys know Lin, right? Jeremy Lin graduated from Harvard University, right? But he's from Taiwan. He's playing for Houston Rockets right now. And those kind of things. Many European, the basketball player, and South American players. You guys know Ginobili, right? The Ginobili is the playing for San Antonio Spurs. He's from Argentina, right? So many European, many South American, and some few Chinese, Asian players playing for National Basketball Association. That's why the NBA commissioner usually emphasizing the globalization of NBA in the perspective of sports marketing, okay? And last sentence, you guys have to focus on charity event. But NBA cares. That's the advertising pace. NBA cares. Usually, when you guys watch the basketball game, during the advertising time, you can have the chance to see NBA cares. NBA especially focusing on charity event. That kind of things is directly related to community relation. You guys know the sports marketing mix, right? But we usually call sports marketing mix is, we just define 5P. The first one is product, price, place, promotion. And last one will be public relation. Public relation, what is public relation? Public relation means, public relation is combined by media relation plus community relation. That kind of thing, charity events, NBA Cares is the one representative example for the enhancing community relation part in the NBA industry. So every kind of organization, NBA, MLB, NFL, have to thinking about community relation part in their perspective of sports marketing or sports industry, okay? We'll have 5-minute break. 5-minute break, so we'll be back at 2 o'clock, okay? So we'll be continuing my lecture, okay? Thank you, Costa. Next organization will be the MLB, Major League Baseball, right? So MLB, the first sentence, we just seeing the opening series. That means the purpose of MLB's globalization effort, right? But this season, the MLB opening games was hosted which city? Australia, Sydney, right? So you guys have the chance to watch the Korean pitcher. Hyunjin Ryu is currently playing for Los Angeles Dodgers. But this season, I think 3 days ago, right? So last weekend, there is 2 opening series games. The LA Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers against the Arizona Diamondbacks. You guys have the chance to watch the game through the media, through the TV. But that kind of thing, think about that. Those kind of games was hosted not in the United States, right? But in other country. But this season, Australia. That's kind of the huge effort the Major League Baseball commissioners, the Major League Baseball organization, the effort, the further globalization of Major League Baseball. I already mentioned, right? So baseball, not every country are playing the baseball. So I think most European people and African, the other country, many people do not know the rule of the Major League Baseball. That's why the Major League Baseball organization have to make an effort to promote, to advertise Major League Baseball into worldwide. That's why the opening series games was hosted in Australia. Previous history, the opening game was hosted, I think, 4 times in Tokyo. In Tokyo is the capital city of Japan. The opening series game, Major League Baseball opening series game was hosted in Tokyo, Japan 4 times before this season, okay? I think historically, previously, the first city which host the Major League Baseball, the opening series game, not inside the United States, I think Puerto Rico or Mexico. Puerto Rico or Mexico is the first host city to the host Major League Baseball opening the regular season game, okay? But you guys know the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox rivalry, the relationship. I think you guys are not used to know the baseball games, but there is 2 representative teams inside the MLB organization, which team is New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox. They have the previous historically, they got huge rivalry connection, rivalry relationship. So those kind of thing is the huge factor to increase the popularity of the Major League Baseball, okay? So you know, so many international players are playing for Major League Baseball, especially, I think 50% or 50 and 60% of the Major League Baseball players are Hispanic players. Hispanic, you know what Hispanic means, right? Hispanic means kind of cultural terminology. The Hispanic means is the Central and South American. Hispanic is including everything, Central American, usually from Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Venezuela, whatever. Many players from those kind of countries I mentioned, they playing for the Major League Baseball at this moment. And Asian player too. Asian player means usually the most of Asian players are Japanese players, right? Japanese and Taiwanese and Korean players. Korean players are also playing for Major League Baseball at this moment. That's the kind of effort for Major League Baseball for the globalization of the Major League Baseball, okay? You guys know World Baseball Classic, right? So our country, the Korean people, everybody knows World Baseball Classic. World Baseball Classic is kind of similar event which compares to the World Cup. World Cup, the soccer event, every 4 years the World Cup is hosted, right? The World Baseball Classic is too, same thing. Every 4 years, the World Baseball Classic is hosted, the kind of national competition. So not many countries, because not many countries are playing the baseball, so World Baseball Classic usually 16 teams. 16 teams are playing each other, right? So for the winning championship. So World Baseball Classic is kind of huge event, which event is hosted every 4 years, compared to World Cup, okay? So wild card and intra-week games. Wild card, you know the wild card, right? So wild card is the postseason game, right? The regular season game, each team plays 162 games. 162 games every single season. Each team plays. I'm just talking about regular season. After that, the Major League Baseball, there is also playoff game, postseason game, right? The wild card means, well, you know, decide the teams which team enters to postseason, the wildcard system. The Major Baseball is introducing wildcard system. How about intra-league games? Major Baseball is separated into 2 groups, American League and National League, right? You know it's the LA Dodgers. So Yu Hyunjin is playing for LA Dodgers. LA Dodgers is one of the National League Baseball teams. How about Shin-Soo Choo? Choo is the traded to Texas Rangers this season, right? Texas Rangers is one of the American League teams, right? So inter-league games means usually the World Series. World Series is the kind of Super Bowl, the championship game. World Series game is the champion of American League plays against the champion of National League game. But without the championship game, World Series game, the American League team and National League team do not have the chance to play each other. But inter-league games means the American League team, one of the American League teams and one of the National League team play each other during the regular season. Why? The Major League Baseball is thinking about the promotion of the Major League Baseball game, because the attendance rate is every year attendance rate in the Major League Baseball is kind of rapidly decreasing. That's why the MLB commissioner thinking about that. If we making inter-league games more, the people more get interested in watching the Major League Baseball game. That's why the inter-league games was introduced. And the last year, I think every single team plays 162. I think 20% of the single season game is the inter-league games for each team. But the wildcard inter-league game is kind of the marketing effort for the Major League Baseball to increase the attendance rate, okay? But Sunday night baseball means, but baseball usually the play every day, right? But usually Sunday, except the Sunday night baseball, every Sunday game usually hosted Sunday afternoon, the one between 1 and 4 p.m. But Sunday night baseball is kind of similar to Monday night football, right? Sunday night baseball, ESPN covers 8 or 5 p.m. Eastern time. Only one single game is hosted through the Sunday night baseball, especially the ESPN covers whole things regarding Sunday night baseball. That's the kind of marketing effort too, right? But Major League Baseball has a kind of huge problem, the drug abuse program. So the Major League Commissioner is making an effort to the steroid policy, right? The steroid policy, right? But the players got the drug, the abuse much, that is kind of problem. That's why the Major League Baseball is always making an effort to strengthen steroid policy, okay? We have to think about that. So you guys know the FA. FA means free agent, right? Free agent. But that's kind of National Basketball, also NBA and the other professional organization has the FA system too. The Major League Baseball has the FA too. You know the Korean player Sinsu Chu, this year, he got an FA the status. He was traded to Texas Rangers this season, right? But that's the FA, okay? But new stadium effect. Kind of, you guys have to think about the Arsenal problem. Arsenal, English Premier League soccer teams. Arsenal always, they want to make a new stadium, right? But new stadium, what is new stadium? New stadium is making also the people to come to the stadium, right? So everybody want to watch the soccer game or watch the baseball game in the new stadium, right? So baseball too. Each baseball team want to have new stadium, okay? But there is kind of new stadium effect. Usually called, that's kind of research terminology. The honeymoon, you guys know honeymoon, right? So after marriage, everybody, the bride and bridegroom has the honeymoon, right? The new stadium effect usually called in research terminology, we usually call honeymoon effect. Honeymoon effect means the impact of new stadium on increasing fan attendance. That means honeymoon effect. So every kind of MLB organization is trying to have a honeymoon effect, okay? So next one will be the soccer, okay? Soccer is also trying to make an effort for globalization. You guys know the FIFA World Cup. FIFA World Cup is also hosted every 4 years. This year, this summer, June, the Brazil, there is a huge soccer event, usually called World Cup, right? So you know the UEFA, right? UEFA European Championship. Usually Korean people call this event Euro 2012, whatever. But that is kind of the championship, especially inside the European country, right? The European country, they're always competing against each other. So for winning the championship, also every 4 years, right? The Euro Championship also hosted every 4 years. I think every 4 years, like World Cup. No? No? I think every 4 years. Every 2 years or every 4 years? Every 4 years.
Yeah, it's like every 2 years after the World Cup, so 2016 and then 2020.
Yes, so 2012 and next Euro Championship will be 2016, right?
Yeah.
So every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So Euro Championship will be hosted also every 4 years, okay? So FIFA and UEFA. UEFA is the kind of big organization which organizes soccer event. Usually UEFA controls everything regarding soccer in the European country. FIFA is worldwide concept, right? UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League means any kind of club inside the European country, they playing each other against each other for the winning the championship, right? But this year, the Manchester United will be advanced to next round, right? So Manchester United, I think Manchester United and Bayern Bayern Munich are playing each other, right? For the next level. They already, the groups already decided a few days ago, right? So UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League, you guys know the kinds of big event. In the sports marketing perspective, but you guys have to always think about the Manchester United, one of the Premier League teams, English Premier League teams, Manchester United's efforts, and you guys know David Beckham, right? The David Beckham impact. Everybody in this perspective of sports industry, you guys have to know, you guys have to understand the role of Manchester United and David Beckham impact. I mean, David Beckham usually the previously playing for Manchester United. After that, he was playing for Real Madrid, whatever, which other organization, but he got a always, he spent most of his soccer life in the Manchester United, okay? So Manchester United always making efforts for the globalization of the soccer games, but especially the Manchester United organization has a worldwide tour, especially in the East and Southeast Asian country. They usually every year they making the worldwide tour, right? For the globalization. And David Beckham, he was playing for Los Angeles Galaxy, right? Los Angeles Galaxy is the one of the MLS. MLS is the organization which organizes soccer event inside the United States. MLS means Major League Soccer. That is the organization which organizes United Professional Soccer game, okay? But before David Beckham plays for LA Galaxy, Los Angeles Galaxy, I think most of people do not know the soccer like you guys. You guys do not know the rule regarding baseball, whatever. But United States people do not interested in watching the soccer game. They have their own game, American football. But except soccer game, they have a bunch of things to watch. They have a bunch of sporting events, except the soccer game. But David Beckham, after David Beckham plays for LA Galaxy, United States people's mind has been changed rapidly. Now, I think most of people know the rule of the soccer, and every people is rooting for their country. I mean, rooting for American national games. But I think many United States people has the chance to get more interested in the soccer game through the David Beckham's playing for LA Galaxy. Okay? So increasing the popularity on MLS in the US, for example, every Sunday morning, at this moment, every Sunday morning, soccer season, every Sunday morning, 7:30 Eastern time, ESPN, every Sunday, ESPN covers one Premier League game. The Premier game, one Premier League game was broadcasted in the ESPN every Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. Before David Beckham playing for LA Galaxy, I already mentioned and emphasized most of United States people do not get interested in soccer game. Now, the people's mind has been changed rapidly, okay? Everything was possible due to David Beckham. Yeah, I have two more slides, okay? Two more slides, tennis and golf. Tennis is, you guys thinking about the popularity of the tennis games. But tennis games, I already emphasized last week, the Maria Sharapova and Williams sisters. Williams sisters means the Black American woman, Venus Williams and Serena Williams, I mean, right? So Sharapova and Williams sisters, and women's tennis has a great role on increasing the popularity of the tennis game, right? So men's tennis rivalries, that means there is 4 representative men players, right? Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic, and what else? Andy Murray. The 4 great players has a big rivalry relationship, right? So that kind of thing make people more interested in watching the tennis games, right? So 4 major tournaments. Who knows the 4 major tournaments? We already the mention in the last week class, right? Okay, Korean.
The Australian Open,
Yes.
Open, Wimbledon, and French Open.
Yes, that's correct. Australian Open and Wimbledon and French Open and US Open is the 4 major tournament, right? So especially the Kia Motors. Kia Motors is a Korean brand, right? Our country brand, Kia Motors, sports marketing. You guys have to know that. The Australian Open, one of 4 major tournaments, Kia Motors is always the main sponsor for Australian Open. But that's the way of sports marketing, right? So Kia Motors is gonna, I think the company is trying to promote their new product, the cars, through the Australian Open. What else? Kia Motors always main sponsor for Australian Open, and NBA, National Basketball Association, Kia Motors is also one of main sponsors at this moment. So Kia Motors always thinking about the sports marketing effort to promote and to advertise their product, okay? So you guys have to know that. So tennis channel, especially there is no tennis channel in the United States. Right now, the cable, I'm already talking about the cable system, right? So in the United States, finally, there is one tennis channel. Tennis channel usually which covers tennis 24 hours. That channel is not covering the other things. Only they covers tennis. That's the tennis channel, right? One of the cable TV. That's the kind of the role of the enhancing and increasing the popularity of the tennis games, okay? The last slide will be golf. So you guys know golf, right? It's a PGA Tour and European Tour, right? PGA is usually hosted in the United States. The European Tour is usually hosted in European country, right? And LPGA crisis, for second sentence, you guys have to think about that problem. Too many international players and visually plays no good anymore. That means the LPGA means the golf tournament for women, okay? The PGA and European Tour, mostly we're talking about the men's golf tournament. LPGA is ladies Professional Golf Association in the United States, okay? So LPGA crisis, that's why. The reason why the LPGA has a crisis, too many Korean golf players are playing over there. Think about that, the LPGA thinking about the own player from United States want to get the championship. But right now, in current situation, every time tournament, the other country people, especially Korean ladies, won the LPGA, the golf tournament. That's why most of people, United States people, do not get interested in watching LPGA games anymore. That's why the LPGA has the crisis to lose the main sponsor. They have to find the main sponsor, okay, for sponsoring LPGA golf tournament because nobody interested in watching the LPGA game. That's the kind of problem, okay? So I mentioned Michelle Wee plays no good. Michelle Wee is half Korean, her nationality. Her parents are Korean, but her nationality is American. She was born in Hawaii, but the United States people, the LPGA organization, want to make her popular. The Michelle is kind of pretty and nice-looking woman, but you guys know the Western and American people are interested in watching the East Asian woman, right? So Michelle Wee, but her nationality is also Korean, so that's why the LPGA organization want to make her popular. But Michelle Wee plays no good at this moment. That's the kind of huge problem for LPGA, okay? So many international player competition, and the Ryder Cup and the Continental Cup. The Ryder Cup is the kind of golf tournament because between the United States people and European golf players. This event is usually hosted every 2 years, the Ryder Cup. Historically, the golf you guys have to know the Ryder Cup. But the Continental Cup is also hosted by every 2 years. But this cup is the playing between the American golf players and the other country, international players. There is a kind of two huge competition, the Ryder Cup and the Continental Cup. You guys have to memorize that. And finally, the Tiger Woods. You can see Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, everybody knows Tiger Woods, right? So I think the people who do not know the golf well, everybody want to get used to listen to the name Tiger Woods. But Tiger Woods' impact is huge for increasing the popularity in golf worldwide, right? So Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson rivalry. Tiger Woods is a black American, right? The Phil Mickelson is a white American. There is also big rivalry between Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, right? The baseball, New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox rivalry, right? So in golf history, at this moment, there is kind of big rivalry between Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson every time, okay? So there are also 4 major golf tournaments. The men's 4 major golf tournaments, you guys have to know that. And Golf Channel, I already mentioned previous screen, the tennis channel, right? The Golf Channel is one of the major, the cable sporting network. That is one of them. So through the Golf Channel, everybody has the chance to watch the golf game. And everybody has a chance to know what is golf. So the Golf Channel also increasing the popularity of the golf tournament. Okay. Okay, that's my lecture. You guys have a question regarding today's my lecture? Please feel comfortable to ask me anything regarding my lectures. If you do not have question, we're gonna have the 5-minute short break, and then Group B will be presenting chapter 1 and chapter 2 using our textbook, okay? So we'll be here 2:40 once again, okay? So only 5-minute short break, and Group B will be presenting their stuff, okay? Thank you very much.